I knew something was wrong the second I pushed open the bedroom door and saw my wife flinch like I'd caught her stealing air. For a heartbeat, the room hung in a strange stillness. The curtains were half drawn, her phone face down on the bed, and she looked at me with the stiff smile people give when they're trying to hide panic under politeness. "I didn't hear you come in," she said. I didn't answer. I just stared at the phone. She moved her hand toward it in a way that made everything inside me twist. That tiny, quiet motion said more than any confession could. That was the moment I realized. Surprises don't always look like balloons and confetti. Sometimes they look like a screen turned face down. I walked in with the groceries still in my arms, plastic digging into my fingers, and set the bags on the floor. She watched me like she was waiting to see what version of me she needed to deal with. The calm one. The angry one. The clueless one. "Who were you talking to?" I asked. She blinked, then looked away, then back at me. 3 tiny movements that dropped my heart through the floor. "No one. Just a friend." Her voice had that thinness, like paper stretched too tight. I didn't push right then. I didn't shout or snatch the phone. I just felt something inside me start to tilt, a quiet but certain shift, like a table leg snapping under the weight of years. The signs had been there. They always are, but we box them up and stack them in the dark so we don't have to open them. She had been laughing more at her phone than at anything I said. She'd been guarding her screen like it was a diary dipped in gasoline. Late-night messages. Sudden showers. Long pauses before she answered questions that shouldn't need thought. And I kept telling myself she's stressed, she's tired, she's human. But humans lie too. That day, when she left for a sudden walk to clear her head, I finally opened that box I'd been avoiding. I checked our phone bill. One number repeated over and over like a pounding heartbeat. I didn't know who he was yet, but I knew he wasn't her brother, co-worker, or cousin. The first wave that hit me was anger, hot and fast. The second was shame, cold and slow. Shame that I'd become that person. The one checking phone records. The one standing in his own house feeling like a stranger. When she returned, her cheeks flushed from the cold, I was sitting at the table with the bill in front of me. She paused when she saw it. Her breath caught in her chest. "What is this?" I asked. She sat down. Slowly, carefully, like the chair might explode. "That's someone I talk to sometimes," she said. "Someone." Her eyes lowered. A small detail, but that's how truth works. It leaks out through tiny cracks. "He's just a friend." I said nothing. Just waited. The kind of silence that swallows air. She broke first. "Okay," she whispered. "It started as a friend." I didn't ask the next question. My silence pushed it out of her anyway. And then it got complicated. Complicated meant everything and nothing. Complicated meant emotional affairs dressed up in soft words. Complicated meant messages at midnight, heart emojis, inside jokes built on the pieces of me I'd been too tired to maintain. I wanted to break something. A chair. A wall. Myself. Instead, I just put my head in my hands and breathed through the burn in my chest. "Why?" I asked. She didn't answer at first. Then she said something that hit me harder than any confession. "Because I didn't know how to talk to you anymore." It wasn't an excuse. It was a wound laid bare. 4 days after that, we lived like 2 ghosts trapped in the same house. We spoke only when we had to. We slept with miles of silence between us. But silence can be a pressure cooker. It forces things to the surface. The turning point came one night when I walked into the kitchen and found her crying into a cup of cold tea. I stood there, not knowing if I should leave or comfort her. Finally, I sat down. She looked at me with red eyes and said, "I ended it." I didn't know if I believed her. Trust doesn't heal on command. But something in her voice felt raw, scraped open. "I'm not asking you to forgive me," she said. "I just want to tell the truth now." So she did. She told me how it started. How she'd felt unnoticed. How the messages made her feel seen again. How she'd tried to stop but didn't know how to deal with the emptiness when she did. She told me she hated herself for crossing lines she never thought she would. None of it erased the hurt. But hearing the truth was strange. It was like cleaning a wound. It burns. It stings. But it also helps it stop festering. I told her my truth too. How I'd felt invisible in my own marriage. How I'd buried myself in work. How I'd been scared to admit I was hurting too. How I'd noticed things slipping but hadn't wanted to face the possibility that we were breaking. For the first time in years, we weren't talking through walls. The surprise I walked into that afternoon had been ugly. It had cracked our marriage open in a way we couldn't ignore anymore. But sometimes cracks force light in. We didn't magically fix everything. We stumbled. We argued. We cried. We took space. But we also talked, really talked, for the first time since the early years. Eventually, trust started to grow again in small, quiet ways. A shared laugh. A hand on my shoulder that didn't feel foreign. A phone placed face up on the table without fear. We went to counseling. We unlearned old habits. We built new ones. I'm not saying betrayal is a blessing. It's a wrecking ball. It destroys what you thought was solid. But after the dust settles, you get to decide if you're going to walk away from the ruins or start rebuilding with whatever pieces still feel true. We rebuilt. And every day, I remember the moment I walked into our bedroom and saw her flinch. The moment that felt like the end, but somehow became the wake-up call we needed. Not because the pain was worth it, but because the truth, once spoken, made us worth saving.